we're just going to start off. So, I'm interviewing here Jacob Trimble. You're running for the U.S. House Kentucky District 5, correct?
Correct.
You're a U.S. Navy veteran, healthcare professional, and a lifelong Kentuckian. He wants to give working families, veterans, and rural communities a stronger voice in Washington. He is not backed by corporate money or super PACs. Jacob, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, like you said, I served in the U.S. Navy for 8 years. I was born and raised in Somerset, Kentucky. Um, I spent 18 or 19 years of my life here before I decided to join the Navy. And when I joined the Navy, I served in Rota, Spain, and Corpus Christi, Texas, and that opened my eyes a lot to see the rest of the world and see how the rest of the world was handling what's going on. And I saw a lot of good and a lot of bad, and my job is now to take what I've seen from these other states and other countries and apply it to what we have right now. And that's why, honestly, I'm running for U.S. Congress, is because I feel like I have a eyes wide open view now.
No doubt about it. And you're running against, I think his name's Hal Rogers. He's been there 44 years, and he's 88 years old. Um, I don't know if you have anything to say about Hal Rogers, but to me, it seems like someone that's 88 years old is a bit of, out of touch with the locals in Kentucky, especially in your district, you know.
And well, Hal, he's from my town, so I've always seen his face. His office is probably about a quarter mile from here, but I mean, he's well loved. But I think the further east you go, because my district is the very last county, or my town is the very last county of our district going west, so it's more, um, I guess, populated, and we have more infrastructure and jobs here. But the further east you go, the you start to see the divide, and you start to see these people that are actually, it's almost like you go from here to a third world country, you know?
Yeah.
So, the broadband, the internet, the jobs, the healthcare.
It all sort of goes downhill from there.
Yeah. And I think he's lost touch with the base. Because you look at any career long politician, 45 years, you're starting to get into with you're voting more on what you believe as a committee member versus what the people you represent want you to vote on, you know?
No doubt about it. And one of the biggest things, I do union work here up in Boston, but I also am down in DC. I do legislative work as well. And one of the hottest things that I see nowadays is that these politicians go to DC and they're not fighting for their constituents. They're fighting for big pharma, or they're fighting for, contractors. They're not fighting for their constituents who vote them in election after election, and we get disappointed. But it seems like someone like you that served in the military, and I appreciate your service. You've traveled the world, like you said, and you've seen how it's done in other places, good, bad, or indifferent, and you feel you can get to the House and make a change, not for Spain, not for anywhere else, but for District 5, the people that will be in your district that will um, cast their vote for you and hopefully elect you to the U.S. House of Representatives.
And to expand on that, a lot of people are just, um, like, they don't even know. A lot of people I've learned is they're like, what's a district? And like, I've always kind of known about politics, but I have to take myself back and think of myself when I was 17 or 18, being like, okay, I don't even know who my representative is. So I have to approach this from, um, explaining to them what I would be doing daily. And a lot of people think, to move on to the next point, is they think when they elect one person that I'll go up there and I'll be a fighter, but it's going to take a whole movement, like I need two or three other congressmen in Kentucky that are willing to help me push the right message and help put people in at state and local levels that will help push our, I guess, agenda is
Yeah.
the best way to put it,
Well,
because it starts at the local level.
no doubt about it. It starts at the local level and then ends in DC. But I think the hottest part right now in politics alone is that there's no bipartisanship. The Democrats don't want to work with the Republicans. The Republicans don't want to work with the Democrats. And I think, again, if you have the chance to represent the people of the great state of Kentucky down in Congress, what you have to do is be able to work with everybody, because at the end of the day, we're all Americans. We're all fighting for the same thing. We want a roof over our head, food on the table, and maybe a couple dollars extra at the end of the year to bring the family on vacation.
And like you said, we all want the extra money, but we also have to remember like the three key aspects of life are having a job, having a roof over your head, and feeling safe in your community. And Eastern Kentucky's really struggled with the opioid crisis, which has turned into the fentanyl crisis, and we're seeing people, young people, not even make it to the age of 30. I think Kentucky has one of the higher overdoses rates, and I mean, you go and look at the death statistics, we lead the country in that.
Yeah, and that's
So it's
terrible.
terrible.
Because up here in Boston, it started with the OxyContin, then went to heroin, then the heroin to fentanyl, and these kids make that decision to inject themselves with this poison, and a lot of them never recover. Especially up here in Boston, it's running rampant. Especially down in Kentucky, you said it's running rampant as well. You
And it
know,
goes back to like not having a job. It's kind of like, I mean, it becomes their form of like taking an antidepressant because they take that and they forget what's going on in their life that maybe sucks. So
yep,
I mean,
yep, yeah,
you got to give them reasons to live.
exactly. And if they don't have a job or something to do, it's going to drive them towards the drugs. And I know, some of your campaign platform centers on, combating inflation and economic stability. How would you combat inflation, and how would you
Well, I mean,
stabilize the economy?
one of the biggest things we've noticed is I feel like inflation's being controlled by the corporate conglomerates. Which gas has been high, but um, I don't believe we have the supply chain issue that we really do have. I believe that these corporations have gotten used to making these obscene profit margins. And honestly, the best thing you can do as an elected official is, I mean, as a U.S. congressman, you can drag them in front of Congress. I'm not going to belittle them or anything, but I'm going to ask them, hey, why are the prices keep continuing to rise? Like, we have to ask these questions. We can't be uncomfortable with asking hard questions.
Not at all. One of the hottest things I think too is, instead of inflation, it almost, like you're speaking about, is it's almost greedflation. These corporations are just getting greedier and greedier, and they're putting out smaller servings for more money. And instead of inflation, it's greedflation. When is enough enough for these corporations raking in billions and billions of dollars a year when people can barely put food on the table?
And we've seen that. I mean, which I get we elected Trump, which I support Trump, but we elected him to change this, but he can't do it without, you got to hold the people that hold the supply accountable. So, I mean, whether that's um, giving them an option to tax cuts or something with the diesel or something, because I mean, America runs on diesel. So we have to figure out a way to give them a chance, which I mean, they're making so much money already, but these corporations work on incentives. So if you give them an incentive, they'll pay you back. Um, so
And I,
it's that's the thing about politics. Is sorry to interrupt you, but is you got to be able to give and take. And I've learned that like we can go up there and we can have screaming matches all day, but at the end of the day, it was just a screaming match and nothing came out of it. So we really have to put policy to put our hand on policy and say, this is what I want. You got to be able to propose it and say, this is what we need for America. And that rolls into the omnibus bills. That's really screwed us a lot because there's a lot of good stuff in these bills, but there's also a lot of um, that's contributing to the national debt.
yeah,
So we have to be able to step back and say, hey, we're here all year round. Why can't we just work on a bill a day or something? Which, I mean, it may be more than a day, but.
yeah, no doubt about it. And I know one of the big things is that you're a big defender of the First and Second Amendment. How would you make sure that things stay that way with the First and Second Amendment?
Well, the First Amendment has really been pushed lately, as we know, the Charlie Kirk, and there's a lot of hate speech. But the one things I've had to step back on and understand is the First Amendment was meant to defend all kinds of speech, even hate speech. But the thing is, with people getting fired, is that's up to the corporations. That's not up to the government. And I kind of disagree when she said that hate speech should be illegal because it is a form of speech. But also, it's up to the corporations to fire the people, not the government to bully the people. The corporations to fire the people. So
Yeah,
I think we have to take a step back and say, hey, let's. I get a man was killed and we loved him, but we got to step back and think about what Charlie would want. And I think he was a firm defender in the First Amendment, and I think he showed that on campuses when he went and spoke to people of his opposite views and gave them a platform.
no doubt about it. A platform where, excuse me, my nephew goes to Montana State, and he was going to the tour. Obviously, God rest Charlie Kirk. But what he loved about it was Charlie Kirk getting everybody together, whether you were conservative, whether you were far right, whether Paul, whether you were a Democrat or Republican, everybody came together at these rallies, these debates, and everybody was heard, everybody was seen, everybody was, it wasn't a fight, it wasn't an argument, it was healthy debate that this country needs more of, I believe.
I agree. And to move on to the Second Amendment, one of the things that we've heard from the left is violence wouldn't happen if we banned gun laws. But I mean, you saw a lady on a train get stabbed with knives. So what are you going to do? Get rid of all kitchen knives?
Exactly.
Um, so the Second Amendment, I mean, it's really about freedom. I mean, it's about being able to put food on your table too, but it's also about having the right to protect our families, and in the event of a government overthrow or something, we're able to defend our nation.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how the nation was founded, was on a bunch of rebels that decided they'd had enough of the taxation. So, I mean, without guns, we're not able to hold people accountable. I'm not saying go out and shoot everybody, but I'm saying like it's a tool in your toolbox,
Yeah. Yeah.
in case of bad times.
Yeah, you have the right to protect yourself, your property, and the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. I know that you're a big supporter of Kentucky's energy and coal industries. How do you plan on keeping that thriving? Both the energy and coal industries.
Well, one of the things Kentucky's faced is under Biden and Obama, we really saw a decrease in coal. And what happened is they put so much restrictions on mining coal that these little companies couldn't, because the majority of the coal companies were small companies that were providing jobs to the community to mine coal. And now all you got over there is you may have a few big companies, but um, they can only mine so much. So um, what you got to do is you got to get back in there and you got to cut these regulations. And I mean, there's plenty of natural gas over here. So, but you have to have a reason to put in coal plants again. And we've seen that with the data centers of AI. So,
Yeah.
I mean, whether we go and do nuclear or coal, I think either way is a viable solution. And I believe that, I mean, coal's already there. So why not just mine the coal and build more coal plants?
Yeah. So, do you think one of the big problems is with the limits put on coal plants with Obama and Biden, that these smaller companies went out of business and these bigger companies came in, limiting local Kentuckians on jobs because they're such a big outfit, these big coal companies, that they don't have to hire as many people.
Exactly. It's about jobs and family and the dignity of hard work. Um, to me, I mean, I think a lot of people in Washington look at it as like, oh, we're saving the environment, but you're also costing a lot of jobs. And like, you look at like, if Kentucky wants to expand and be like places like Texas and Idaho, we're going to need energy to provide for these homes. And we're already seeing there's an energy shortage in these bigger states that are expanding because there's been so many restrictions put into what you can build that they're having rolling blackouts. So in reality, we have to cut the regulations, and it's kind of like a state of emergency. I mean, there really is a energy crisis right now.
Yeah. I know that you're a big advocate for the agriculture and rural infrastructure. What are some things you would do when it comes to agriculture in Kentucky and the rural infrastructure in Kentucky?
Well, one of the biggest problems we've faced in eastern Kentucky is the flooding. I'm sure you've seen a couple of clips. I think it was 2023. We had a major flood, and I think we had another one last year.
Yeah,
And it's devastating because these people, they continue to get flooded, but we there's a lot of stuff that we can do to prevent this, and it's cleaning out the drainage ways and redesigning. We got the capacity to build highways through these mountains, so why are we not building on top of the mountain instead of the bottom of the mountain? So it'd be a multi-year, probably 10, 15-year project, but we'd have to start redirecting these routes, to put these people's homes on top of the mountain instead of putting them on the bottom, because that's what's happening in Pikeville and places like that is they continue to get flooded because everything's on the bottom of the mountain. So it's going to take a little bit of money, but
it can be done.
it could be done. And farmers, like I said, they're the backbone. Like they provide all our food. And one of the things I recently read was Tyson. They can ship their chicken anywhere, but if you're a local farmer, you can only ship it within a certain distance. So how is it fair that these major conglomerates like Tyson can ship their chicken out across the United States, but a local farmer in Kentucky can only take it to his local farmer's market? And he probably has better standards than Tyson does.
Oh, no doubt about it. It's probably 100 times healthier for you from the local chicken than it is from Tyson. You know.
And you go to look at Tyson, and you're looking at like who owns Tyson. It's not 100% American owned. It's major investment banks from all these other countries, and like they may not actually be our ally. They may be pushing Tyson to put something in our chicken that's not good for us. So
It,
I think cutting regulation is the biggest thing. My biggest message today is regulations put us into a lot of these situations to where we're not able to do what we were built to do.
yeah, yeah. So one of the big things I was reading about you is that you had said that with job training and skilled trades, that college isn't the only path to success. I know that you said you will push for more job training and trade programs that help Kentuckians build strong, stable careers. And what I like there is that you said you're going to build strong, stable careers, not just jobs, but careers. What are some of the things that you can do with that, with the job trainings and trade programs?
Well, I mean, there's a dramatic shortage of plumbers, HVAC, and electricians in this area. I mean, there's people working, like my nephew, he's an electrician. He's working all kinds of hours just to get these jobs done. But there's not enough. There's all these colleges out there, and they're pushing 4-year degrees and something that you may never use. I know a lot of college kids that they don't even work in the field they went for. So, like, we'd have to expand the trade and tech industry. I mean, whether that's from getting your CDLs to being an electrician, a plumber. Um, there's a lot of businesses out there. I guarantee you, a lot of HVAC and electrician companies that be willing to sponsor these kids to go through these programs and get them a job right after.
Yeah,
And like another thing that I've noticed is in Eastern Kentucky, a lot. The biggest issue is a lot of the brain power has left Eastern Kentucky. These people that went and got these degrees in these Eastern Kentucky colleges, but there's nowhere for them to apply in Eastern Kentucky. So they end up leaving and going to Lexington and Louisville and other bigger cities to apply themselves.
okay.
So we've lost a lot of brain power. So it's going to take bringing some of that back and bring back incentives and give people jobs and give them the right leadership. I'm not saying college is bad, obviously, but we need leaders that have been tried and trusted.
Yeah. Do you think one of the things that you could do, especially in District 5, is bring back, vocational schools, VOTEX, where kids are actually taught a trade, whether it's auto mechanic, whether it's electrical. I seen more across the country that they've gone away from VOTEX, which is a great thing because college isn't, for everybody. So if you have a kid that goes to Votech for 4 years and studies, as an electrician on the side, when he comes out of high school, he's almost ready for the field with a little more training. Whether it's auto body, auto mechanic, electrical. Would you do something like that in your own district, in District 5?
Oh yes, I mean there's one in my local town here. But there's just one, so like they can only accept a certain amount of students, so it really hinders the rest that want to be able that don't want to go to college,
Yeah.
but maybe they didn't get accepted because there was three or four other students in front of them. So I mean, there's a big push for even IT. I mean, that's an entry level job is a good job. So I mean, not just the blue collar jobs. We need people in all fields that are entry level to perform these tasks. And it goes back to teaching them these tasks. So I mean, you get someone out of high school. I mean, obviously, a young mind is better to train than an old mind. So
So one of the big things is that you will fight for Kentucky workers, not Washington insiders. What do you plan on doing in, let's say, day one of being the representative for Kentucky District 5 if you were elected in Washington, D.C.?
well, the biggest thing is that when you go to look at it, a lot of these tax cuts and stuff are benefiting the people that go to Washington to lobby. Um, and they have special interest groups that come into their office and they're like, "Hey, we'll throw you 500,000 at your next campaign to make sure that I get a tax cut at the end of the year." So, and it goes back to the small business owners. They have so much regulation on them. None of these small businesses get tax cuts like these large corporations do. And that, like the farming that I was talking about with Tyson, none of these local farms, I mean, they get some incentives, but they're not getting the incentives that they should to stay open.
Well, you think that it should be vice versa, where the big corporations get less and these smaller companies get more with tax incentives, because mom and pop, are running, the local communities, local Main Street, not Tyson and not these big corporations.
Exactly. So, I mean, you look at welders, I mean, they need welders in every business, and like, there's a huge shortage of those. So, like we was talking about the vocational, if we can get that vocational taught, I mean, a welder can start out at 50,000 a year. I mean, a 19-year-old kid, that's a good amount of money.
No doubt about that.
So, and like, I don't have anything against doctors or lawyers, but like, we need more people that can go perform service at a normal person's house. Like, I don't call a lawyer in the middle of the night when I need my HVAC fixed.
Exactly. Exactly. So, Jacob, what's been one of the biggest, what's been one of the funnest things you've done on the campaign trail? What do you look forward to every day when you get out there on the campaign trail?
Well, one of the biggest thing is like at the beginning, it was just um, learning about the politics, but now it's hearing stories from the people because I talked about this earlier. I can read on the internet for 6 or 7 hours about healthcare problems or job problems, but seeing people that have actually gone through this and understanding like how what I read is actually affecting people's every day to day life.
Yeah.
Um, like there was a young woman in out eastern Kentucky, and she's broke her back nursing. So with that, she with the Medicaid issue is she was finally able to get Medicaid because she was able to push for it. But that's the people that need the Medicaid and the Medicare because she lost her job. And if she would have went and got Cobra, that would have been $800 a month.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I mean, that comes back to fighting for the stuff that we've put in place to benefit the right people.
Okay. So you love getting out every day and hearing the stories of everyday Kentuckians in District 5.
Right. And like I said, I talked to that young gentleman who said he hadn't found a job in a year and a half, and luckily, I mean, he was able to finally find his calling, and now he operates a drug rehab, which that bounces into that.
Okay.
Like we said, there's an epidemic. It's not a couple people dying; it's tons of people, and like we have to cut off the supply. Whether that starts at the border, that starts. It's not just a border problem. It's there's other countries shipping this stuff in, and there's people making it. We have to.
Yeah, take
The
China
law
for
enforcement has to be backed. I mean, that's where it starts. Is you have to. These people are going to jail on repeat and repeat and repeat. And I get that some of them may not be fixable, but we have to give these people a chance to mold themselves back into regular society.
yeah. Yep. A lot of the fentanyl they say is coming from China. What would you do if elected to tamp down the flow of fentanyl from China?
Well, I mean, we've done pretty good at it so far under Trump, but we really need to give the military the power and the U.S. Navy to stop these. And it's going to come down to the ports, too. We have to give them the resources to go through every container that we may suspect has fentanyl in it and stop it. Because that's where it's coming from. It's just coming from the ports and these shady shell companies.
Yeah.
We have to be able to give the resources to the FBI and all that to stop that.
Yeah, there's many tools in the toolbox, but you have to give them all the tools so they can do the job correctly and, efficiently, you know.
And I've never been like the FBI and the CIA, they all have their benefits, but that my next point is like we've really put a lot of trust into them to do stuff, and now we're starting to see the repercussions of it, like we got to keep them in check too. So, I mean, it's a fair balance of games.
Yeah,
And as congressman, your job is not supposed to be like turn your head the other way. You're supposed to look at everything, and the people that need to be held accountable need to be held accountable. You can't just turn your head the other way because it might disrupt your federal campaign funding.
exactly, exactly. And I know you're not taking any money from super PACs or big donors. Why is that?
Well, I mean, I really got into that when I started listening to things about APAC, and I don't believe any country should be able to fund another politician, whether it's an American funded corporation, but it still receives funds from another country.
Yeah,
Um, so when you look at these super PACs, it's not funded by the employees. It's funded by the executive level people who have decided that they're going to implement a certain policy to benefit their stock growth.
yeah. So if you are elected, you will not take any money from APAC or have an APAC handler.
No,
That's
I
good.
believe that like that's a hard line to stand because I mean, you've seen the pictures. They take these congressmen from some random district to Israel. So, like, why is a guy from Iowa going to Israel when he lives in Iowa, where like the biggest issue is corn distribution and potatoes? I'm not saying anything bad about them, but how does APAC benefit his district?
No doubt about it. To me, it's just more of indoctrination from the Israeli in the Israeli lobby.
And it comes down to just being like, no, like I ran for my district because I believe in Kentuckians, not because I want to fund 7 wars and 7 different worlds. I want to fight for people to have jobs and health care and live a good life. And that's what it boils down to. That's what America really wants is they want to live a good life and they want to be able to raise their kids, not worrying about them passing out from an overdose
Exactly.
and go to school and not be indoctrinated.
Yeah, and go to school and be able to be safe. With the recent school shootings that have been going on now for almost 25 plus years since the Columbine incident. It's tough. So before I let you go, Jacob, what is your message to the people of District 5 in Kentucky?
My message is this: don't stop fighting. Um, we have to elect people at the state, local, and federal levels that are willing to change the tide and not give in to the ways of these big conglomerates. We have to be able to fight back for the little people. The little people are the ones that make up these districts. There's not 1,500 billionaires. There's 1,500 people without jobs in a certain county, you know. So we have to be able to turn the page to a new chapter that benefits Eastern Kentucky.
Perfect, perfect. And I look forward to catching up. I'm gonna have you on a couple more times because I know you're gonna be running for a couple months now. So I look forward for you gaining traction down there for the District 5 down in Kentucky. And I just love to see you rise up through the ranks. And um, you're truly for the people of District 5. I can tell. You're a man of the people. No.
And that's been instilled. It wasn't just the Navy. It was my family when I was raised. Is like the people that support you the most won't be the people that give you the most money. It'll be the people that see you make the most change and that see you that you're a real person. You're not just a person that's bought. You know, I
Yep.
wasn't picked by the local establishment to run for this office. I ran as almost a rebellion to show that small people like me can make a change.
Yep. And small people like you matter and can make a difference. So Jacob, I appreciate it, and I look forward, like I said, catching up with you, in a couple months or so, and seeing how everything's going.
Well, thank you, Jimmy. I appreciate having me on. I hope everything goes up there well there in Boston, and I hope to say in a few more months we're gaining some more traction.
Definitely, brother. And like I said, I'm going to keep in contact and see how you're doing and seeing how you're going. And I can't wait to hear from you again.
Hey, thank you, brother.
Thank you, Jacob. Stay strong, pal. Good luck.
You too, buddy.
Yep. Bye bye. Sorry
Oh,
about that, pal. I'm just recording it.
oh, you're good, buddy.
Yep.
Um, like a majority of people or a minority of people are controlling a majority of the money and the employment, so they're able to issue the wage of living. So what's really happening is we've seen a troubling problem where people aren't able to find jobs, and if they are, they're not getting the required wage of living. So
So they have to
on
work
that,
3 or 4 different jobs just to make ends meet.
right. And I was talking to a gentleman the other day in Pikeville, and he moved here from I want to say Cincinnati, Ohio, but he waited a year and a half to find a job. So I mean, Pikeville, it's a county wide. It's about 60,000 people. So I mean, you think with what's the coal really hurt there because Eastern Kentucky's founded on coal pretty much. But you think of a county that big, there would be plenty of jobs. So what we've seen, and a lot of people have left Pike County, but also you've seen just like with the hospital there, and there's one group that controls that whole thing. Like recently, I mean, I don't want to get too conspiratorial, but the city manager of Pikeville, he just left his position as a city manager, and now he's the president of Pikeville Medical Center. So when you start looking at things like that, you're like, wait a minute. So
Such a
you're
complicated,
managing.
you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, it's minority controlling the majority is
No,
what I call it.
no doubt about it. So